Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. It's Belinda here from Visualized NZ. So today I am working on the cover for the Sweet Moments journal. So I have done some preparation. I've cut this piece of paper out of a grocery bag, so just a brown grocery bag. I've measured it to my typical journal size and cut a section out, and it is about 12.5 inches or 32.5 centimeters, give or take. My ruler doesn't quite go all the way, so I'm just kind of guessing there, by 8.75 inches or 22.5 centimeters. So that's the size of the paper I'm working with, and I have glued onto the back of it, or onto the front actually, some compression bandaging. Now this is just because I had it available. It's elastic on one side, so it's a stretchy elastic fabricy type stuff, and then it's got this soft foam lining, and I had to have compression bandaging for a while, and they changed them every week, I think it was, every half week to week, and if they had leftover rolls they just throw them out. They don't take them for another patient, so I would always ask for the leftover bits of rolls. So that's what I've used for padding, because it's really nice and soft, and yeah, I thought would work really well as padding. So what I'm going to do now is, this padded side is going to be the outside of the cover, so it'll be like that. And it has picked up bits of stuff. I've stored it with my fabric, so, and because it's a sort of a sticky, not sticky, it's supposed to stick to itself is the way it works, but it picks up little threads out of the fabric box. So I'm going to glue on some fabric on the inside cover, and I've chosen this fabric here, which is a sample piece of cotton, I believe. It does have some blue in it, and there's very little blue in the digital kit, or either of the kits for Sweet Moments, but I think that this little hint of blue, it's very soft pastel-y, I think it will still work. So I'm going to go with that. I'm just busy picking off lint, and I do apologize for the state of my finger. It is black. I have scrubbed it. I have used hand sanitizer and nail polish remover and a nail brush and hand soap, and I've scrubbed, you know, I'm lucky I've got any skin left, and it's paler than what it was, but it just won't go away. I was writing today with a fountain pen and didn't realize that my finger had slipped down over the nib, and it just was drawing the ink out onto my finger. So there we have it. I have a black finger, everybody. And it's probably going to be a while before it goes, and it looks awful. I do apologize, but I've tried to get it off, and it's just not coming in a hurry. So to glue on this fabric, I'm going to use some gel medium. Now normally I would use matte, but I don't have matte gel medium available. I've only got this gloss one that I was given, and so I'm just going to use what I've got, and I'm going to use a palette knife and spread it on. I really like using medium, well, typically matte medium, but gel mediums with fabric. I just think it gives a really good adherence and doesn't tend to soak through too much, or if at all. It's been a while since I've done a fabric cover, so I'm sort of going half by memory. And this, I haven't done a fabric cover like this before, not in this fashion, so we're heading into new territory. I've been heavily inspired by Gail Agostinelli over on her channel, who is making a Mother's inspired journal with a Mother's Day or a Mother's digital kit, and she did a slow stitched cover for it. And so guess what I'm going to do, because I just loved the look of it, and I thought it's not something I've done, so let's do it. Let's go on this adventure and try something new. Why not? And I think that the look of a slow stitch cover will really suit the Sweet Moments kit. I think it will complement it very nicely. Right, hopefully I get this all spread out before it dries on me. It's a very warm day here for an autumn day. When I went out, about half an hour ago outside, it was 24 degrees. That's like summer temperature, really. So it's really rather nice. So I haven't had to light the fire. I haven't had to turn on the heater in my office when I was doing some computer work. Really enjoy those days. And I get a lot more done too, because one, I'm not cold, and two, I'm not either feeding the fire or double checking the heater or getting up to the loo all the time because the cold makes me want to go use the bathroom more. So I get more done. Right, there are patches that have dried. This is an old medium too. I've had it for a while and I think it was old when it was given to me, so I'm not surprised. And at the moment there's no up or down to this, but once I put the fabric on there will be. So let's try and get it on semi-straight, though I don't think it will worry too much if it's not straight. And using that glue to smooth out the wrinkles. I'm not worried if there's still wrinkles in it, but a good amount of them will be smoothed out because I don't iron. I try not to iron. I don't iron clothes. It's just boring. I used to have to do it as a kid growing up. I'd do it for mum, you know. One of the chores you had to do as a girl growing up was do the ironing and, you know, iron the hankies and the pillowcases and the clothes and the school uniform and then the work uniform, and it's just boring. Right, so that now is really nicely, and I need to work out how I'm going to glue it down to this side, whether I just want to fold it in like this. I'm thinking I might do that. I saw it done on a video somewhere randomly that just sort of was in my suggested feed on YouTube, and I watched it for a bit and I thought, oh, I haven't actually done it that way before, where you just kind of fold it in and glue it down to itself. So I'm going to try it. Let's see how it works for me. Hope it works. Right. I think I'll do the sides first. So just trying to judge where it's going to. Okay, and then, oops, there's a hair stuck to it, and then sort of goes about there. So I might put some in under there where it's folded over, so it glues to itself. I hope this works. I'd hate to have to start again because it all went to pot, but we'll see. We shall see. Come along and experiment with me. So I hope you're all having a wonderful day today. I've had the busiest week, really big week, but so satisfying. I've achieved so much. Okay, so I have put the glue where I don't want it, but that's okay. I'm sure it'll be okay once it dries. I just won't be able to put anything on top of it. Otherwise it's going to stick to other things. Right, so this is going to be covered with our slow stitched front, so I don't need to be too fussy about how it's looking or whether it's stuck down right to the edges, because ultimately it's going to be covered. But it seems to be working well enough, this method. Might just go in these folded bits and do them now so they can start holding to each other, holding hands. Swing it around. Oh, my finger, my poor finger. It looks terrible. I became aware of it because it was like, oh, it feels like my finger's wet. And by the time it got to that stage that I could feel it, it was like just covered in black ink. I've just recently started using a fountain pen again because I found I had some ink cartridges. I didn't think I did, and then I found some. So I've been enjoying using it in my journal, my personal journal. But yeah, it's been so long since I've used one that I kind of, you know, forgot a few little things like not covering the nib with your finger, because that's what happens. Oh, that's terribly not straight. Never mind. Maybe if I put the glue on this, then I won't get it where I don't need it. How's that for thinking too, you know, almost too late? Although I don't want to get it on my mat. Oh, don't forget the corners. Can't forget those. Need to glue those down. And I'm using a good amount of the medium. I keep wanting to say matte medium, but it's not. It's gloss in this case, but the gel medium. Right, so far so good. I think we're not doing too bad. Right, so I didn't do this corner over here, so let's go in and do that one. Hopefully this won't make it too bulky on the corners. We'll see. As I said, I haven't done it this way before, so nothing like a good experiment. I think it should be fine because it is only fabric and glue. Right, I'm going to need clean my fingers for sure after this with a wet wipe. Get off that glue. Hopefully it ends up straight. I don't think it's going to be too bad. Right, coming up to the last stretch here, people, and then we can look at the fabrics for the slow stitched cover. So I've grabbed out a bunch of contenders, and that's as far as I've got. So if you want to help me choose, stay with me while I choose the fabrics and arrange them to make a slow stitch cover. I won't do any slow stitching on camera because it's going to take me a while. That'll be a long-term project, but I hope to not take too long because I want to get the journal done. So my evenings might consist of stitching for a bit. Right, last edge going in. And all these lumps and bumps from the folded corners and everything, once the cover's on, it will completely hide that because it's going to have different textures and layers on it anyway. So won't even know. Right, just going to give my fingers a wipe because they're all sticky. I don't want sticky fingers while I'm playing with fabric, choosing out my fabric. Oh, and I'll give my palette knife here a wipe off as well, and I think this wet wipe is ready to go in the bin. That's the first thing I grabbed when I discovered the ink on my finger, so there's a big black patch on that as well. Right, so there we go. That can go and dry now. So interestingly, we have little cut off corners here. We haven't got square corners. Okay. I think think that just gives it an interesting point of difference. So pop that aside somewhere. Where am I going to pop it? Over there. Right, I've just got it perched behind me. Hopefully it doesn't fall down. And I have cut a piece of fabric to do the front. This will be the base for the front, and it's just a piece of an old duvet cover. So it's quite thin. Which side's the right side? I don't think it matters because that's definitely the wrong side. This is the right side. Because essentially I'm going to be covering most, if not all of it. Right. And let's grab over my fabrics. And I've also got my box of lace and things as well. So this is really pretty. I want some of this on there. These are all just scraps that I've picked up from a junk store. So they're offcuts from somebody's sewing project, or sometimes they're even bits of old clothes that somebody's cut the good bits out of and then donated. And I believe this goes up the other way. Yes, it goes up that way. Okay, so let's cut a bit off from this end. Alright, and I'm just throwing them on the floor. I'll sort them out in time when I'm finished up here. Okay, so I'll just leave that for now until I decide where exactly I want it and how much I want of it. Pull some strings off. I'm going to end up with strings for Africa. Going to be everywhere, and I'm going to be wearing them. Okay, so got that. Have got more of this fabric that's on the inside cover. This little floral, get the word out, floral piece. I'm not sure if I want to put some of that on the front or not. I might just pop that aside for now. Oops, strings. Play me a tune on the strings. Okay, so this could show through some of these, and I'm all good with that as well. I really like this fabric. I think it's fun, and it's got a lot of the colours that are in the kit, the pink, the sort of corally colour, the green. So I thought that would work really nicely. Don't think I've got a corner out. No, none of it's been hacked into yet, so let's just grab a strip. Okay, fighting. I haven't got enough room here. Actually, that could be pretty sideways, couldn't it? I was thinking vertical, but if I put it across, it could be rather nice. Not sure I'm loving this edge that's all folded up slightly. So let's just, if I can, get rid of it. Lots of strings, and I think I don't know whether I made it any better or made it worse. Never mind. Okay, so something like that. I like that. Did I bring pins? Sorry, I'm just digging in my box for some pins. And I found some. So I think to stop driving myself absolutely nuts with things moving all the time, I'm just going to pin I keep getting distracted by strings. Okay, so I'm gonna pin in there, and then I'll just have to remember to shift them if I layer something over top of them, so that they don't become encapsulated in my slow stitched piece. So basically we're collaging with fabric. Right, so let's go to there. Oops. Oh gosh, is that going to tear? Yep, there we go. I just hadn't made a big enough cut. Making some interesting scraps. They'll be useful for making things for inside the journal, like belly bands and fabric flips and decorating other things with bits of fabric, clusters and things like that. So that'll be good. Okay, so let's just add a pin here just for now. So I'll have to remember these ones and take them out. Oh, that's a short pin. Don't want a short pin. Here, got a pin with a head on it, which will be easier to know that I've got it there. Okay, I do like this sort of minty green. I think that's a bit of fun. It's quite plain, so maybe we'll just put a little snippet. Oh gosh, if I can tear it. A little snippet of that, or maybe even a couple of bits. De-string it. Okay, it's got a little cutout corner, which I think is quite fun. Oops, I ended up damaging that. It's a bit funky, so let's just cut it down a bit. Oh, it's not easy to tear actually, this one. It's getting smaller and smaller. Stop playing with the strings. You'll drive people nuts, including yourself. Okay, so let's just pop that there for now. I'm not sure where I want it. Then I've got this one, which has got this lovely paisley pattern on it, and it has got embroidery over top. So this one I will not be able to tear. I'll need to cut this. All right, again, there's not a chink out of it, a corner yet. So let's cut a corner out. This is as good as any. I don't have fabric scissors at the moment. I used to have fabric scissors. Well, I guess I still do, but I have not seen them for years. They have disappeared. Totally disappeared. Don't know where they've gone, what's happened to them. And they were really good. And they had fabric scissors written all over the handles that my first husband was scared that he would use them for something. So he took a black pen, marker pen, and wrote all over them, fabric only, fabric scissors only, fabric only. But yeah, they've been missing for a good decade at least. No idea where they've gone. So I can only assume that they're lost. I don't remember that taking them anywhere, but maybe they'll surface as in another decade or two. Who knows? So I should invest in another pair really when I've got some dollars. Right. Which is the right side. I think this is the right side. So I think I want to straighten this up so I can put it right on the edge. And maybe down the center where the spine will be would be nice. So let's move our pin. Okay, that's all good. Do we like this? Something like that? Stop it. You're going to keep having strings, so just give it up. There'll be time enough for that as you sew. Right. Okay. So I quite like that there. How do we feel about this piece? Work out which way it goes again. This way. Maybe we could do something like that. So let's go about there. Oh, dust. It probably doesn't matter which way up it goes, really. I'm thinking I'm going to put it up that way because the straight edge is at that end now. This edge is not straight. So if we pop it there, yeah, just make sure it's the right side. Oh, and I don't think it is. Gosh, it can be so hard to tell. Yeah, no, I'm going to have to put it the right way up. So let's just trim off this top, make it a little bit more straight. Okay. And I have made the base fabric slightly larger than the cover, so that one, if it overhangs, that would be lovely, but two, as you sew, things tend to shrink a little bit as you, yeah, just, I don't know how it works, whether you pull it tighter with the, as you're sewing or something, but they can end up smaller. So I don't want it to end up smaller than my cover, because that would be very, very difficult then to do anything with. Okay, so let's pop that about there. Right, so let's grab this pin out now so we don't bury it. So that's got 3 layers right there. Okay, so we need a strip down here, and this is catching my eye. This is, I don't know what sort of fabric, like very, very fine weave, loose weave that's been like tie-dyed. And I think it's the perfect combination of colours for this kit. So how about we pop, I could actually use that sewn edge and just pop that at the top. Cut a strip of that. Does it tear? Oh, not sure. I think I make a mess of it if I tear it, so I'm just going to cut it. Sorry, hopefully I was on camera. And I'm not worried about the inside edges being straight or not. I think it's quite fun if they're not. So I might put a bit more of that somewhere else as well. So this is very thin, so I don't mind having extra layer there. Whoops. Sorry, I put the pin in my mouth to hold it, which meant I couldn't talk. Right, and let's pop a couple of long sides because it's a nice long strip. My fingers tend to not like doing a lot of slow stitch because I've got arthritis in my fingers. So I've got all these knobbly bits, and this one's developing and this one's starting to turn a bit. So I will have to do it in spurts. I won't be able to sit and do it, you know, for a day or two just flat out. I'll have to pace myself with it. But I'm hoping it won't take too long. Right, and I've got this little bit of fabric. Let's just pop a piece of that in. Oh gosh, what is it with fabrics that don't want to tear? Oh, that was better. Okay, now that's got a salvage edge on it, so maybe we want to put that against the edge. And I like that the lines are going a different way to this bottom piece. Do I like how straight that bottom edge is? Not so much, but I'm sure it'll be fine by the time it's sewn and got some detail added. It'll be all good. One thing, I have done a bit of slow stitching. I was doing Roxy's, what is it called? Roxy's Journal of Stitchery. I did a few months of that and then I stopped doing it because I was falling behind and my fingers weren't liking keeping up with the pace. So I did learn though. Oh, sorry, I had a sneeze that wanted to come and then it just vanished. I did learn to leave plenty of overlap because otherwise things move as you're stitching them and they sort of pull up and you can end up with gaps because, yeah, they've just moved on you and that's not ideal. I don't want gaps. I am going to cover the whole thing. I'm not going to leave any of that fabric showing, the base fabric. It is pretty, but I've got quite a bit of it. Right, there we go. So definitely want a bit more of this lovely tie-dyed fabric. It's really covered in all sorts of bits of strings from bits and pieces. Seems to like collecting them. So, oh, how deep? Let's go about there. Nice and jiggity jaggedy at the bottom. Right. Throw it to the side now because I think that's all we'll need of that. And I really like this little jiggity jaggedy bit here, so I want to keep that in and I'll trim off the other side down to where I want it. Oops. Haven't stuck myself with a pin yet. I'm sure it will happen, particularly as I'm sewing the piece. So if you're not familiar with what slow stitching is, it's basically hand stitching, hence the slow, because you don't do it with a machine, because machine is quick, hand is slow. Right, I've got a pin under there, so let's bring that one to the top. I need another one on the side here. There we go. Okay, and where do we want to end that bit? Maybe about there. Maybe give it a slight sort of kink at the bottom just for fun. Well, that's a fun little strip. That'd be nice on a cluster. So first off, move this pin underneath. Actually, no, I want to put pin in the middle first. Yeah, and then move this pin. Right, so one gap to fill. What would we like to put in there? And I feel like I need something over here as well. I could put a bit of more of this green. It's an interesting shape, obviously from something somebody made. Just going to trim off that bit. This green stuff is definitely very stringy. And I'm just going to cut it. Maybe I'm just going to give it a funky edge at the top there. Yeah, because I just wanted to expose a bit more of the underneath fabric. Quite like this little sort of piece down the bottom. Just a bit of fun. Right, I haven't done any lace yet, so we definitely want to add some lace, and maybe that's what I'm after for over there on that pink. I did grab out this blue, which is offcut from skirt, but there's not a lot of blue in the kit, and I think the little bits of blue that we've got are sufficient. Right, so I didn't use any of these, so let's just pop those aside as well. This is quite a wide lace. No, don't think so. This is quite a pretty one. Not sure. Let's have a look what's in this wee bag. Got some lace with flowers on. That's really pretty. I don't know where I got this from. Oh, I like that. I like that there. Tell you what, having a black fingertip is very distracting. I keep wanting to wipe it. I think, oh, there's something on my finger, and my first thought is, I better wipe it on something. And it's like, oh, so annoying. Never mind, it'll come off in time. Hopefully not too much time. Oh, that's pretty. I love that. How about we put another bit over on the back, maybe vertically, something like that. Yes, why not? Let's do it. We'll put it up the right way though, because that was sitting up the wrong way. So let's. So this is definitely, I'm composing this with this being the bottom, the top here. So it has got a direction now. I need to put another pin in underneath there, I think. Just to hold things flat. Do we want to put it right at the top? No, I don't think I do. I think I want it sitting down. Using lots of pins. Here we go. I often do things in threes, but I think because it's going to be folded in half, I think one on the front, one on the back is fine. Same with the bits of green, and the tie-dyed is fine because it's one on the front, one on the back. What else? What else have we got in this little bag? Do we need anything else? I think if anything, we might want something like some sort of focal thing here. So I think this is the base of the cover as it is. I don't think I need to add any more. It'd be overkill at this stage. But like a little fabric cluster or some doily or something there might be quite nice. But other than that, I think that this will be the base that I go ahead and sew. So there we go. That brings us to the end of the video, really. I'm at a point now where I need to work on it off camera. So thanks so much for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed this little video of me just working on the fabric aspects. Let's pull our cover here. Okay, so the matte medium or the gel medium is still wet. I can see that it's still wet. So we need to leave that for a bit longer. Maybe I'll pop it out in the sun for a bit. Okay, that's it for today, guys. Thank you so much for being here, and I will catch you in the next video. Take care, everybody. Bye.